crafty friends, it's Annie from Vintage Lace Journal, and I'm here today with a beginner's guide to making a junk journal. Now, I've seen lots of videos of people making journals and things, and it's quite easy to follow. So I thought I'm just going to go like a back to basics. Now, although this I say junk journal, I am using a kit for this and some scrapbook papers. I'm also using some coffee dyed papers and old music papers, so it's kind of a mixture of both. We sort of say junk journal encompasses a bit of everything. So although it is junk, obviously this is Amazon packaging, I am also using a kit in here. So this kit I am using today is from Emily Designs 14, and it's called Papillion junk journal kit. So this is just absolutely beautiful. It's all to do with butterflies. Now, this is not the colour it comes out of. This is dampened it down a little bit because I've actually printed this onto coffee dyed paper. So the colours, obviously, these are the real colours on normal white copy paper. So obviously you can see the difference. They're a little bit muted on here. So this blue butterfly would be more like this kind of blue. Really, really lovely bright colours. But like I said, the papers that I've done on here, so you get 8 journaling pages, you get 11 different patterned papers. I printed off 3 for now, and I'm probably going to use on my covers, my inside covers. So these are just absolutely gorgeous colours. This blue is just amazing. And then you get 8 pages of printables, you know, like your ephemera and your pockets and your tags and all that kind of thing as well. So nice big chunky kit, so I'll link that below if you want to get your hands on the kit. I've also got here some coffee dyed paper, so there's some old graph paper, a doily, music paper, so anything you've got your hands on really. Coffee dyeing involves, what I do is I get a mug with a spoonful of granulated coffee or powdered coffee. Only mix it up about, say, about an inch worth. Mix it all up. Doesn't have to be. I use kind of warm water when I make my coffee dye. I personally, and I know this takes time, this is just how I like to do it, I get my glass mat out and I get a great big wide brush and I brush my papers. I know some people make baths and they put the coffee and they put all of their papers inside it. I just find it quite therapeutic to have some music on and just sit there and just coffee dye some paper with a paintbrush. So that's my way of doing it. So when you hear people say coffee dye paper, that's all they've done is just made up some instant coffee, no milk obviously, and yeah, either dipped their papers in it or brushed it on. Then I've got some scrapbook paper. These colours go quite well. This is a wood effect paper. This is double-sided, and this is a brick effect paper. And I thought the colours went in quite nicely with the kind of muted browns I've got on here. And these are 2 packs I've got from Craftstashuk UK. This is craft consortium papers. Now these are 12 by 12 papers, and you get 30 double-sided sheets for £8.99. So I always try and link these on here. I do have an affiliate account with them, so I do get a little bit of commission if you do buy. But yeah, these are great. £8.99 for a 12 by 12 paper pad, and they're really good. It's 180 GSM. So I've got the brick one and I've got the wood one as well. And like I said, really lovely, nice thick paper. Different colours, there's blues, greens, browns. It's not kind of like multicoloured one. Ordinary wood one, and it goes darker, like wood panels. So I'm going to be using some paper from those as well. Okay, so once this is done, I've got one here I've made before. This is one of my mushroom journals. My Etsy shop's going to be opening up next week. I've taken all loads of photographs, so this is one of the things you can buy on my Etsy shop. I've been brave. I've been really worried about selling stuff because I'm really worried about negative feedback because I think it'll really make me upset. However, I'm just going to say, do you know what? I need to just do this. I've got so much stuff. I just need to start selling stuff. Anyway, this is made from Amazon packaging, exactly as the one I'm going to make today. So this is your outside cover, which I've covered with papers, and then obviously made all the inserts inside. This is full kit from Junk Journal Studios, one of the first kits I made with their... No, it wasn't. But yeah, so lots of different things inside here. So this is what it will end up looking like once you've done one. Okay, let's get going. So the first thing I'm going to do is just show you, this is just an Amazon envelope. This is nice thick packaging. If you haven't got Amazon packaging envelopes, you can just use craft card, you could use scrapbooking card if it's nice and thick, or any type of cereal packets, anything like that. Another way of doing this is I've got this one here. This is an old stuffing mix. You can just have this as your spine and then cut these bits off, and this could be a journaling as well. So any kind of packaging that's quite strong, knocking everything off my shelves now, can be used. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is open this up. Try not to rip this because I want to try and keep this size as much as possible. Not worried about ripping this bit. So yeah, while you're on camera, it's never going to go right, is it? So just lift these end panels. Doesn't matter if these bits rip off because I don't need this bit. That'll be cut off in a minute. It's just the actual length of it I don't want to lose. Ugh. There we go. This one hopefully going to come off a little bit easy by the looks of it. So opening that up, so I want to try and keep the best size of this as I can. I've printed this onto normal A4 copier paper. So my backing papers and my journaling papers, they were A4 paper that I've just trimmed down the white border off. So I want to try and keep this packaging as close to that size as possible. Right, so first what I'm going to do is just trim off this edge here. I'm just going to fold those back in so it fits on here. I'm wishing now I'd have bought a larger, it's not going to fit in there, trimmer. You know, now I've had trouble with blades, but I wish I'd have bought an A4 one. So I'm just going to push that to the top and just cut that little bit of the edge off there. So hopefully when that goes over now, I'll just grab a pencil. I'm just going to mark that so I can cut it off the same size. Line that up there. And then hopefully I'm just going to fold that over. We'll need more than one cut through, that's fine. Just going to trim the smallest bit off the bottom that I can. Let's get that into shot so you can see what I'm doing. So that's one of the parts done. Let's take that off and go through again. Just tidy that up. There we go. So I'll just trim that with some scissors and then do the same on the other side. And this side's going to be a bit easy by the looks of it because that side's already done. Just come in with that bit there. Okay, so I'm just going to get all those bits out of the way. And this now measures just under 7, so probably 6 3/4 by 9. So I'm just going to see with my paper now. So once you've got your outside measurements roughly right, it's then a kind of a case of seeing what you want to take off. I'm going to take a little bit off the top and bottom of this because I don't want it that tall. So I'm going to do this bit first. There we go. And then I might measure this actually. So my paper measures 7 3/4. So I'm going to have this down to 8 inches. And that way it gives me a nice little room in there to, so I'm just going to use my ruler to mark that at 8 inches. You don't need too much of an overhang, just enough to kind of like keep your papers tucked in. Okay, so that now measures, double check. Yep, that's 8 inches down. So that will be nice and wide enough for my paper. So when I fold this in half, you can see there's quite a lot of overhang there. So I'm going to have that 8 inches by 6 1/4. I'm going to make that. So I'm just going to measure on here at 6 1/4. And then just trim that off, and that's the basic outside bit. That's all you really need to do. I'm just putting one single signature in here. There we go. Now when I say signature, it's a phrase you might hear if you're doing junk journaling. What that really means is a group of papers that have been bound together. So for example, in my journal here, I have got one group of papers. So can you see there's one group of papers, and they are called a signature. Okay, so that there is a group of papers. If I was to thin this down and make these into 2 different piles, there would be 2 signatures. So a signature is basically just one group of papers that are grouped together. So this is one signature. 2 signatures, you'd need 2 lots of stitching to stitch them in. So one signature is one lot of stitching. If I had 2 signatures, 2 lots of stitching. I don't actually think I've ever done anything above a 1 signature personally. Been doing this about a year now, but that's just my personal preference. So next thing you now need to do is get all of your papers together. Now I know that these papers are going to be the right size because I've already cut those ones. These beautiful papers I'm going to be using on my outside and my inside, so I'm not going to cut them down just yet. The next thing I'm going to do is cut these papers down. And it doesn't actually matter if they're the same size or not, because in theory you can have them bigger or smaller. If I just come back again to this journal, not all these papers are the same size. So I've got papers in here that are smaller. So this one here isn't as wide at the top and bottom. This is actually a paper bag. Yeah, so not all papers, most of these are the same size, but they don't have to be the same size. So this music paper I'll probably trim down because it's way too big and it will stick out the top of my journal. So fold them in half is the first thing you need to do. There we go. Then I'm going to put them together as if they were inside. So I already can see that this is wider than this one here. So when I put this one in, I actually put it on the outside, I'm going to pop it like that. Okay. So to make your papers the right size, I'm going to line it up to this one. And I'm actually going to make these ones slightly smaller. So I'm going to cut them here and here. And then width-wise, I'm going to trim them. I'm going to make them a bit smaller. I'm going to trim that along there. So keeping them together, come back in with my trimmer. So pop them in and trim there. Make sure they're lined up. Bottom. I've just cut my mark off. If you're silly enough to cut your mark off, just grab your paper back out again and reline it. I'm actually going to cut down that square. There we go. Keep forgetting to hold my finger guard down. So now I've got those cut to the right size. You can pop these in this scrap box and they can be used for other things later on. So what I'm going to do now is come in with my scrapbook paper. So this is the last paper that's going to need to be cut. So again, bringing that in, and I'm going to want it that way up. And I want the bottom part because I think I like the bottom part. So again, just fold that in half. And half again. So I'm going to keep that this width, and I'm just going to trim down the size at the top. So there we have all the things we need. So our outside cover, we've got our 2 pieces of scrapbook paper, we've got our chunky journaly bit, and we've got our beautiful, so there's going to be plain on one side and patterned on the other, which is fine because in this journal there's the ephemera kit that goes with it, so there's lots of things on here to make pockets and tags and envelopes. Right, so let's put our things together. So first of all, you are going to start folding these in half. Now these can go a mixture of either way. I'm not folding that very straight, have I? You can either fold it with your pages so your inside is the coffee dyed paper, or you can fold it the other way so your pattern is on the inside. I have really cut that at a bent angle, so I'll re-trim them in a moment. So I'm going to do one on the outside and then one on the inside. That way you don't have all of your pattern papers together, but you might get pages that you get this. Okay, so just be aware, if you are going to do it like that, it might be worthwhile to do them all the same way, because that way you then get pattern paper, non-pattern paper, pattern paper, non-pattern paper. Okay, unless there's a specific spread you want to be like a whole sheet. So I've got pattern, non-pattern, pattern, non-pattern, pattern. I'm going to pop some paper in there. I'm going to pop scrapbook paper there. I'm going to have another one on that side. Have coffee dyed paper there. And then page. Page. Music paper. Page. Wall. And page. So, once you've done this, that will be what we call a signature. So if I just quickly flick through this, so we've got our scrapbook paper with a plain page. You've then got this lovely brick wall, which I think will be quite nice for putting some of that ephemera on. Brick wall that side. Then you've got some more of the scrapbook paper, journal paper card. Music paper. Then we've got one of those pattern papers. And they integrate, so just a mixture of everything as you go through, so you haven't just got all of those journal kits, you've got a bit of everything in there as well. And then that goes around the other way. Right in the centre we've got a piece of music paper. Might just pop the doily in there in the centre, so that might go in there. And then more of that beautiful paper, and the same on the way back. Now, the next thing you have to do is just to make sure you've got a really nice creased edge in here, and then just double check that it all still fits. Because you've put this all together, it's made it quite bulky. This bit does get pushed out. I'm not worried about this all being the same size. If you are, you can trim it. And as you can see, that does all fit in beautifully. So just double check that there's nothing popping out at the edges, which there isn't. So, quite happy with that. Like I said, I'm not too fussed about these not being the same size. I quite like it like that. If you wanted to at this point to make these all the same side, you could just come in with your ruler, metal ruler, and a craft knife, and just trim this bit down so they're all the same size. So the next thing I'm going to do before I sew this in is actually think about my covers and what I'm going to do. It's easier to decorate the outside cover before you stick your signature inside. So that's where I'm going to come in with this gorgeous paper. So I think the front cover is going to have to be this, because I absolutely love this paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just have a look at this outside of this to think whether I'm going to leave a border, which I think I might do. There's no inking on here. So I just realised I say so a lot in my videos. I'm going to trim this down to just leave the tiniest of borders on here. So I'm not going to make this the whole size of this paper. like I have done on this journal here, there is just a border. So you can ink this part of the cardboard if you want to. So on the front as well, I've just left the packaging and just done myself a little border there. So I'm just going to trim this down. So I'm just going to take the white bit off for now, just to see what I actually need. Just going to do that side. Okay, so trim 3 sides of that, and what I'm going to do, this is how I mark mine out. I come in with my paper and I look at my card packaging here, and then what I'm doing, if I just bring that in a bit closer, is I'm marking the corner of this paper up to the edge of the cardboard. Now I'm leaving probably an 1/8 of an inch gap all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to come along here, I'm going to make sure that's straight at the top and it's straight down this side here. I'm going to come along with my pencil and I'm going to make a mark just there. So that's where I'm going to cut off on this side here. Okay, so I've left that border there, that'll leave me border there, and I'm going to come down to this bottom part here and do exactly the same. So just that little 1/8 of an inch up there, put a little line. Okay, so when I come in now with my trimmer and I pop this paper and cut on those 2 marks, that should give me then the size of my cover. Okay, so bringing that back in again now, and just double checking before I glue it down. Yep, that's perfect. So you can see there, I've got that little border all the way around that edge. Like I said, you can ink this if you want to. I'm going to leave it blank. So for big areas, I use Collall all-purpose glue. I think it just sticks really well. I'm just going to put my camera up again. So I'm just going to put that all over the back. Now paying attention to your edges, because these are the parts, like I say before, that will lift quicker. So really make sure you're getting lots of that glue on those edges. And then squidgy down the middle. Okay, and pop that over, making sure it's the right way up, making sure you're nicely lined up, and then give that a nice rub. Okay, and there you have the front cover of our journal. Okay, so I'm now going to do the back side. I'm going to keep this bit here, and I'm going to use this gorgeous blue colour. Now, in theory, what I should have done is cut those 2 parts at the same time, because I'm not thinking straight at the minute. Obviously, the back cover is going to be exactly the same size as the front cover. So I'm just going to do that exact same process again. So if you're using this kit, it's just a case of cutting those white borders off. So it's good for me to show you what to do again anyway, so I'll remind you. And this is directional paper, so just make sure your butterflies are the right way that you want them. So obviously the butterfly is going to be this way up. So my back cover, going to do exactly the same, is bring that in, line it all up so it's nice and straight, and then just come in with my pencil. So make my mark here, and again on the bottom, just there. There we go. So double check again before you stick, just make sure I've got this the right way up. So butterflies are that way, butterflies are that way, and then just stick that on there. So lots of lovely glue. There we go. Whoa. And then pop that on there. So with that Amazon packaging, you don't see any of that writing on there, and you wouldn't know that underneath here was an Amazon package. There we go. So that's our front and our back cover done. We're going to do exactly the same with the inside now. So on the inside, I've got this paler kind of colour, and again we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did on the outside covers. So coming in and trimming. You can use any papers for this, and you can like scrapbook paper you've got to use up, any kits or freebies you've got, absolutely anything. So it's better to print on, I find, to print on normal copier paper, because it doesn't need to be thick for this. So again, lining that up. Now I need to make sure I know where my centre point is on here, so I'm actually going to fold that backwards now, so I've only got that area to think about. So coming in, lining up, little mark there and a little mark there. I'm actually going to pause the video because I need another piece of paper, so I'm just going to pause the video. I'm going to cut this at the same time, so bear with. So I've cut two pieces of paper now, one for the front and one for the back. It's a different piece of paper, absolutely gorgeous. So again, like before, come in with your wet glue and stick one in the front and one on the back. And then once you've done that, that is your covering. Well, the basics of it done. It's obviously then time to decorate. But it's so simple to do. You just literally cut your cardboard to size, cut your papers to decorate, and it's as simple as that. Again, give it a good rub down, make sure all those edges are nicely stuck, and then same on the back, just making sure I've got this the right way round again. There's nothing worse than having directional paper suddenly stuck upside down. Nice and generous with that glue. This is just beautiful paper. There we go. So there we go. So 4 different panels, front cover, inside cover and back cover. So the next thing we're going to do is come back in with our signature. Now to put this in, I've chosen some embroidery thread. You can choose twine, you can choose cotton, it's up to you. And I've chosen this colour just because it went quite nicely with the colours that we have on here. So you need to find the end, and you need to get yourself quite a thick needle. And there's the end. Now when you're doing this, you need to make sure that you, so this is my journal as it's going to be, and you're going to get your embroidery thread or whatever you use, you want 3 times the height of your journal. So 1, 2, 3, and then just cut that off there, and that will give you plenty enough thread to sew your signature in. Now I'm using a needle that looks like this. It's quite a thick needle because it needs to go through the card. It's got quite a big head on it as well. So what you do is you thread your needle, and we're going to do what's called a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, which means I'm going to make 3 holes in this and sew it together. One of the holes is going to be in the centre, one of the holes is going to be 1 inch from the top, the other hole will be 1 inch from the bottom, so you'll have your 3 holes. Now there's loads of videos on today how to do this. I'm not saying my way is right, not saying my way is the best, but this is how I do it. Okay, so first of all I'm going to open up my journal and I'm going to work out the centre point of my journal. Now with the Amazon packaging, if I just show you, there's a ridge there, and I'm going to actually put my hole through this ridge so I know that all my holes will be in the same place. I'm going to use centimetres because it's going to be a little bit more accurate than inches. So from top to bottom, so if I just move that there, that is 20 centimetres. So I know that 10 is going to be my halfway point. So I'm just going to do a mark there. Now, like I said, I do inches. I do 1 inch from the bottom. I might actually make that 1.5 inches just because of the size of the journal. And then I'm going to do 1.5 inches from the top. Okay, so there you can see I've got 3 marks. My centre mark, 1 from the top, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches from the bottom. Okay, now what I do is I get a rubber, okay, an eraser, and I get a pokey tool. Okay, so what I then do is I put my rubber underneath where I've made that mark, and I poke through, okay, which makes a hole. And I do the same on the centre, okay, and then I do the same on my last hole. So I poke 3 holes into my spine first of all. Okay, I'm going to put that to one side. So the next thing I'm going to do is do exactly the same thing on here. Okay, so I'll bring in my journal, my signature, and I know that my centre, I'm just going to take the doily out for a moment. So this is my centre page. Okay, so I'm going to fold this the other way just for now. Okay, and I'm going to line that up to where these holes are, making sure that at the top and the bottom I've got kind of like roughly the same amount of space. So I'm going to come in with my pencil and I'm going to make a mark there and there and there. Now some people make a template out of a piece of paper and they do all their marks that way. It's entirely up to you. I then bring that back in, okay, make sure that's nice and central, make sure all your pieces of paper are nice and tight where you want them. Okay, make sure that's going to be folded in, okay. And once you've checked, double checked and checked, you can then make your holes in them. Now, one thing you do probably need to do is come in with some clips so your papers don't move. Okay, so I've got these bulldog clips. So all I simply do is when everything is lined up and I'm happy with it, I just pop one on this side here and one on the bottom of the other side. Now all this does is stop your papers from moving around. Okay, so if I was to drop this now, everything would stay in the same place. Same principle. So I'm going to just double check again that's I'm happy with where that all is, which I'm not, so I'm just going to move that a minute and just square that up a bit more. And take time doing this bit because if you make this wrong you'll have problems with you sewing it in. That's a bit better. It's kind of splayed and I don't know why, so I'm not happy with it, so I'm not sewing it in, camera or no camera. Just need to get this bit right. I think it's a case of just they're all different sizes. Probably spend all day doing this in all honesty. Let's try again. So once you're happy with it, like I am now, you can then make your holes. So bring up your rubber and your pokey tool, and then you've got to go through all of these layers at once. So you can do it on that mark and give that a good poke. Middle one and last one. There we go. So hopefully now they should all marry up when I sew it. So I'm going to come back in with my needle now, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go from the inside, so this is the inside of my journal, and I'm going to go through my papers and my outside cover. Okay, so pull your needle through and leave yourself a little tail here. So you've now come through on the outside. So now you're going to go back in through the top hole. So I'm going to go in my cover first and then back in through my pages. Nearly lost it. Okay, and then pull that nice and tight. So you've gone in through the outside, back in up through the top. Okay, you're now going to take your thread all the way down to this bottom hole. Now I like to put my thread at the top, so all the way down, and you come back and you go through that hole there and through your cover and pull that tight. Okay, and then again just making sure all the time this is nice and even, nice and level. And then you finally go back in through the centre hole where you came out to start off with. So back in through there and back in through my papers. Now I like to come through the other side. So I've got one thread either side of the needle. That makes sense. So I've got my middle thread with one thread this side and one thread this side. Now you can take your needle out now. Okay, you can see that's plenty of thread there for you to do that with. And on the outside, just make sure these bits are nice and taut, nice and tight. Not too tight because obviously you want this to move around. So with one thread one side and one thread the other side of your centre thread, they're going to tie a knot. And again, and one for luck. Now, it's up to you what you do with these ones. Some people leave these dangling down and they put little dangles on the bottom of here. Some people like them to tie a bow in. I simply just bring them together and cut. Okay, now you can release your clips from your paper, and that has sewed your journal together. So now when we look at our journal, we have our front cover and we have our pages that are all now sewn in with our centre binding and sewn in on this side as well. Okay, and that is how you make your junk journal. Super simple. So one piece of Amazon packaging, decorate the front cover, the back cover and the insides, and then put all of your lovely papers inside. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with my rest of my kit and I'm going to decorate the inside of this kit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop the camera, I'm going to cut all these pieces out, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to put my journal together. You'll also notice I didn't put this in, completely forgot to sew it in. However, this can be used inside anyway. I'll show you how to make a little pocket with this. So yeah, I'm going to cut everything out and I will be back to show you how to decorate your journal. Okay, so I have cut everything out. It's just sitting there waiting, and I've had a quick flick through the book and I've kind of like thought about where I want different things, but that obviously might change as I go along. Okay, so if you are using this kit, obviously everything that I'm going to be using will be in your kit. If you're using other things, this just will give you some ideas of how you can use your papers and ephemera inside a junk journal. Okay, so I'm going to leave... No, I'm going to do the front cover. What I'm going to do with the front cover is I've got some of this lace, just from my local haberdashery. It's quite pretty lace, but it's really thin. What I like to do with this lace is I like to scrunch it. Now, if you haven't seen this technique before, it's so easy, but you have to be a bit careful because it does use hot glue. And what it involves when you're doing is doing a little bead of glue, putting your lace down onto it, and then you kind of like scrunch it into the glue. And that gives you this lovely little ruche effect. If I just bring my mushroom journal in here, I did this on one of my inside pages, and it gives you this nice kind of like ruffled effect, okay, by just squishing that lace into the glue. So I've just got my hot glue gun heating up there, and I'm going to put that down on the outside edge. So starting at the top and then come down. So my lace is going to kind of like sit not on it. I want the middle of my lace to be kind of like on the edge, so it gives it a little ruche effect and an overlay on the outside. So before I do that, I'm just going to stick down a couple of other things on the front of here. So in the kit you get these beautiful words. So I'm going to choose butterfly and wings. So butterfly wings is just going to sit just there. And there's those two lovely beautiful butterflies, so they sit quite nicely in there. Just going to pop them on with some wet glue. And then in the ephemera pack as well, there's lots of butterflies and this mushroom. I'm going to actually use this mushroom on the front cover as well. And that's going to roughly sit around here. So I'm just going to pop those things on before I do the lace, because if the lace then goes over the top of them, that doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to use a wet glue. This is tacky glue, which I know is a really good stick. Something in that though, a bit of fluff. So butterfly is going to go just there. Just going to try and poke something out of here. No matter how many times I put the pin in or give it a wiggle, this always seems to just block. That's the type of glue I use. I must clean it out when I finish with it. There we go. Just needed a wiggle. These bottles are really good as well. I'll put a little link underneath to, I just got them off Amazon. And just put my glue from a bigger bottle into there. So butterfly and then wings. Just nice and straight. And then I'm going to pop that little mushroom. And it quite blends in quite nicely. I don't really want it like sticking out as such, but it blends in because the colours are quite similar on here. I'm just going to go all the way around the edge. It's still blocked. So annoying. If you've got a tip for keeping these clean, I was going to see how I can not keep it clean. I just feel like there's nothing there. I just don't know why it's not coming out. Who knows? These things always happen when you start to go onto camera. Give up with that. Good old trusty Carlisle glue. There you are with this. Perfect. There we go. I'm just going to pop that down there. Okay, so I'm just going to check that my hot glue gun is hot enough, and I'll show you how I do my lace. Let's try to put the pin back in the bottle. Okay, so I'm going to get my lace. I'm going to have that to this side of me, and I'm going to bring in this bit here. Now, on this lace, it's got a kind of like straighter side this side and a more feathery side this side. So this side is what I want on the outside, and that's just going to go here. Now I do this small parts at a time, so I literally do about 2 inches at a time, so the glue is nice and hot. As soon as your glue dries hard, you're not going to be able to push your lace into it. Okay, so this looks like it's ready. So starting right at the top, I'm going to come down with a small bead of glue, put your lace straight on, and then scrunch up into there. Okay. You do get bits of glue on your hand. It's not hot because obviously you're touching the lace, but you do get glue on your fingers. So just be aware if you're doing this technique. So again, I'm going to come back in from where I left off last time. So run the glue down, bring the lace back in, and squish. And this is one of those things that gets better the more you practice doing it. When I first did this, it was a disaster. But just keep having a go, and it does get better. Okay, as you can see, it's creating that ruffled effect. Getting a bit of a build-up of glue, just grab some off my fingers. If you have pretty polished nails, this might not be the thing for you because yeah, get lots of glue on your fingers. Might affect your nail polish. Okay. And then hopefully last little bit. So there's quite a bit of glue I do squeeze on there. And then keep squishing it and pushing it into the book. Okay, so see if that last little bit just at the bottom. One last little squish. Let's put that out of the way. And then already just come in with a pair of scissors and just cut along the bottom. Okay, and there we have our beautiful front cover with lace effect down the side. It's quite simple. I'm just going to leave that like that. I'm quite happy with that. I might put some I've got these gems I bought the other day, and they're called pearls, and they're just like little they're not pearly, they're kind of like ceramic, so I might pop a few of those over on the top of that. I'm going to get a few minutes. Okay, so I'm going to have a look into the first page now, and on here I'm going to stick this nice big pocket. Now this is a pocket that looks like this when you get it, and all I've done is, you can see I've just inked around the edges on here. So I'm just going to bring that in like this, and then just come in with some glue, and then I'm going to glue the tabs, and then stick this directly onto the very front. Okay, so I'm going to stick that central on here, so right down to the bottom, and then just give that a couple of seconds to just hold, give it a good rub, and then that creates its pocket. And because it's got those little tabs on it, it's quite an open pocket in there. And I think one of these tags I'm going to use on here is just going to be one of these beautiful flower ones, and again, when I've cut these out, I've just inked around the edges. I'm not going to put any tabs on here. I'm just going to leave that as it is. That would make a really nice journaling card. So I'm going to pop that one in there, and the flowers link in with the flowers there, which is quite nice. Okay, this page I'm going to leave as it is. A lot of nice information now about butterflies. So next page here is going to be our first blank page. This is just a coffee dyed paper, and there's these lovely little corner pockets in here. So again, I've just inked around that with some glue, inked around that with some ink even, and I'm just going to glue two of the edges to create that corner pocket right on the corner of that page. So again, just line that up, that down. Okay, and then we have a really nice little corner pocket. And into here, I quite like these little things as part of the kit. They were kind of little journaling cards already. So this is just been printed onto white cards. You could put a picture on the back, or you could put something on the front, journaling in there. And then throughout this kit as well, there's these lovely little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hexagons. So I might just pop one of those. I might just put a little one just up the top there for a bit of decoration. And it just takes away the plainness of that page. Okay, that's another page done. If you want to, you can obviously ink around this edges if you want to as well. Right, okay, so we've got this lovely brick paper here. Like I said, I'll link that below, but I just love that effect. So I'm going to actually put one of these butterflies up on here, because I just think the contrast of the orange on that brick wall looks great. So just pop that up there. And again, this spot could be used for a photograph for your project as well. And in this side, I'm going to just use one of these little ones that cut out. They've got like the feathery edges. Again, I might just put that almost as like a photo frame, and then leave that part again for another picture. Because I think sometimes I was getting putting a bit too much in journals, and just remembering that people actually need places to put photographs and to actually write things as well. So when you're doing journals, if it's your first time journaling, make sure you leave plenty of spaces for photos and places for people to put their journaling in as well. Okay, so again, I'm going to leave that one as it is. That lovely writing on it. And again, people can put a photograph on there. Okay, so another blank page here. I'm going to come in with, I'll use on this one. I think I'll use a pocket this side. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to leave these, so I'm just going to glue these two sides, so it gives quite a bit of a nice side pocket there, because it goes up quite tall. I think if you glued all three sides down, it'd be quite tricky to get things in and out of the pocket. So this is almost like a tuck spot rather than a pocket. I'm just going to leave a slight border top and bottom. And as you can see, that gives you lots of room there to pop your things inside. Just put that on the front as well to give that page a bit of colour. So don't be afraid to layer things up. Just because things have got writing and decoration on them already, you can always add more to that as and when you want to. Okay, then in here, it's going to be a nice big space for another one of those nice big tags. So that will just pop in there. And then I think on there, I'm going to have the word pretty, because pretty links in with that like flower. So I'm just going to pop that up the corner. It's got glue on my fingers. A quick tip for these as well, if you have anything that's got this shape, it's kind of like that half moon shape. I used my punch for this, so when it was a square, as I cut it out along the lines, I just popped that in my punch and I just trimmed that like that, rather than trying to cut that awkward shape. Use your circle punch. Top tip for you there. Okay, that page I'm going to leave as it is at the moment, and then this page I'm going to do something with. So again, a gorgeous colour paper here. I've got another corner pocket, which I think I'm just going to put on that page there. So again, just gluing those two sides and leaving a slight border at the top, sorry, at the bottom and the edge. Okay. And I think I might pop these little tags in there. Okay, plain page. So I've got a three-way pocket here with a little cutout at the top. So again, just glue down those edges along the bottom and the other edge. To create that pocket. There's a set of these lovely 3 tags in here, which is these correspond with the actual papers you can get as well. Excuse me. So I'm just going to get all 3 of those together, mark in where I want the hole, and then just come in with my hole punch. Okay, and I'm going to pop one of those in there. Again, I'll link these below. I got these from Amazon. These are a range of eyelets. You get silver, gold and rose gold in here, and the rose gold is just perfect for this coloured papers. And I just think putting an eyelet in, these are quite inexpensive really. You get so many. I just think it finishes off a tag and makes it look really, really beautiful. And because of the rustic look of this, I always just use a twine. Again, I got this from my garden centre. I think it's something like 10 metres in here. Just snip a little bit of that off, double it up, poke your closed end through, and then pop that in there. Okay, and then again I'm going to use one of these other little butterflies again just to decorate and make a little bit of interest on that top corner. And the blue corresponds quite nicely with the blue on that tag. I like to try to colour match. It's just a thing that I like doing. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to leave this one blank. This has already got kind of like pattern pictures on it, good for pictures. So then got another couple of blank pages here. So I'm going to use this, which is a journaling spot. I think I'm just going to use this as a tuck spot. So again, just put glue down 2 sides. This has obviously got little cutout holes in here where it looks like a tear effect. The good thing about this collal glue is it does, if you get it on your project, it does rub off. So it seeps out of the edge, just give it a little rub. Okay. And pop little things in there. I'm going to leave that one as it is, quite like the coffee splats on that one. And I'm going to leave those as they are. Okay. I'm just trying to think to get to the middle of my book. Don't want to leave too much. I'm going to get the back cover on here. Just because in here you've got these lovely envelopes. When I cut this one out and I was doing something with it, I managed stupidly to get a load of ink splats on it. So I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do just to cover that up. So all I've got is a sheet of music paper here. This is just been coffee dyed, and I'm just going to come in with my glue stick, and I'm just going to go in and just glue all over this envelope. Now you could obviously pop it through your printer and do another print on the inside, or cover it with some coffee dyed paper. That wouldn't have been seen, but if you don't do that like I didn't, I'm just going to pop that straight over the top and give that a really good push. Let's turn it over, and I'm just going to leave that for now, just so the glue dries onto the back of that. And then what I'll do is I'll cut this obviously out, and then the inside will have a lovely picture part as well. Also in here is this envelope. So this comes as a cutout. So you cut it out. I've obviously then folded these edges in. I just put it on my scoreboard and score it so I get a nice straight edge. And again, I've inked all those sides as well. Then I'm going to actually glue these sides up. So I'm just going to come to page in here. So just be aware it doesn't come all the way to the top, so I'm going to start gluing from about here. So a woggle of glue down there, and then a woggle of glue down there, and then glue that shut. And like I said, this does just rub off, you've got it in the wrong place. And then what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to bring in a nice, you can have like pretty paper clips or gold paper clips, silver paper clips. I've got a nice yellow one here. And I'm just going to attach that to the side of my page, like that. So this is a nice simple effect. You've got this lovely little envelope now. So obviously you can take this in and out of your project. You can fill it in with ephemera, tickets, anything you've got on your trips and holidays you want to keep a hold of. And then you can obviously just pop that back onto your journal page. So it makes a plain journal page look nice and pretty, but it is removable if you want to take it off. And the other day as well, I made some of these. These are just like faux tags. These are on my Instagram page. Yeah, so these could also be stuck in on here as well. These are great little additions for projects, and they're going to be for sale on my Etsy shop as well. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the other side now. So I've done lots of things on the front side. So I've got this nice centre spread here. So I think I'm going to have, I might just leave that, because I think centre spread sometimes you can put lots of different pictures and writing and things on that. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. Move on to my next coffee dyed page. So I've got another little corner tuck spot there. Pop that there. And I think I'm just just going to put a lovely beautiful butterfly at the top of that page to link in with the butterflies on this side. And another tag. I'm going to use gold to go with the yellow of here. A lot of people ask me about this tool I use to set my eyelets and punch my holes. It's so old. It's actually a belt hole maker, so it's not even meant for paper, but it does the job. It's quite sharp. There we go. So another quick tag. Pop a little eyelet in it, and again it just makes that tag look that much more nicer. So love this page here. Blank page here. So I'm going to pop another one of my little pockets on. And if you don't have kits, these are quite easy to make. It's just a rectangle of paper, your chosen kit, and then you just come in with a circle punch and just punch a little clip out of the top to give you that pocket look. Yeah. Rose gold one. And we also could say as well that I haven't actually printed any off. What you could do, I'll show you in a moment, I've got a scrap left over, is do some belly bands. And I'll show you what I mean by belly band. Which make another lovely little tuck spot on your pages. Okay. And again, I'm just going to add a little word so the page isn't as blank. So, what I mean by belly band is when you cut, so when I trimmed these down, I had obviously offcuts that came off the edge here. So, what you can do is you can then use these in your book. I'm just going to trim that little white section off. So just mark from the top of your page to the bottom of your page. There we go. So just trim that down. And then just going to trim that little white part off as well. Now, a belly band is something that you stick at the top and you stick at the bottom. Now, this is paper, so it isn't ideal, but I'm just going to show you. It still works, but it's copy paper is not the best thing for a belly band. You might be better off to use a thicker GSM card. And all you do is just pop that in, top and bottom. Oops. And that creates a space for you to tuck things in. So whether it be photographs, again, tickets, anything like that. So yeah, little belly band in there is quite cute. Okay, I'm going to come back to this back page now. So this is mostly dry. So what I did, obviously, if you remember, it was a little bit stained on the inside. So I've just literally glued some music paper round. And then all I'm going to do is just go around and cut this out. This was a really good deal. I got a massive big, I think it's the Marriage of Figaro, the whole kind of like music in a book. So it was £1. The bookshop near me that sells books for £1. It's amazing. Charity shops, I think, are the best place, or thrift shops as you call them in America, to get old books. And some people get cross at me sometimes. Oh, you're cutting up a perfectly good book. Well, it's in a charity shop, unloved, sitting on a shelf, and I've repurposed it into something pretty. So I disagree. There we have our inside now and our outside. So where I had that fold before, I'm just going to fold that back in. Give that a nice crease. and fold at the top, which was just there, and give that a nice crease. And now that envelope has that beautiful paper inside. So all I'm going to do is just glue this part shut. Again, just going to hold that for a couple of seconds just while that sticks. And then I'm going to actually glue the whole of this envelope. I know this front is absolutely gorgeous. You can again paper clip it in if you wanted to, but I'm going to glue that in there. And again, this can be used to store ephemera and thing in it. So lots of glue on the back. And making sure that goes up. And that sticks on there. There we go. So that back page now has that beautiful envelope in there. Like that as it is. Got a little belly band in there. I think on this plain wall again, I'm just going to add in another one of those butterflies. And remember the digital kits, once it's you've bought it, you can print off as many times as you like. So again, photograph there, photograph there. Okay, got a blank page here. I think I might just pop that in as another little tuck spot. So we'll just glue down those edges. And then I can pop a little tag and things in there. There we go. So I've got a few little bits and pieces left over here. So I'm just going to keep going through these pages. And I'm just going to keep adding lots of these little ephemera bits because I can. You can always print off more as well if you wanted to as well. But some of these plain pages I'm going to leave plain because, like I said, you can go over the top with putting too much stuff on, not leaving enough room for pictures and things like that to go on either. So I'm going to use these little things as little corner tuck spots. So just always gluing down just two of those edges. And then obviously you can pop tags and things inside. And one last thing I'm going to do is I am going to punch holes in here. Now I didn't think of this at the start, which is very silly of me, of how to close this. What I did on this one was I punched a hole in the front and a hole in the back. And I've just obviously popped some thread in there. So I'm going to do the same with this one as well. Should have done this before I did that because I've obviously got that envelope in there now, which might cause me a bit of a problem. We'll see. So this measures 8 inches. So I'm just going to mark in 4 there. And I'm just going to come in with my hole punch. And punch through there. And I think because of the yellows on the front of here, I think I'm going to go for a lovely gold. So gold on the front, it's got to be gold on the back. So pop my eyelet through. Okay. And then do the same on the back. Just being careful where I'm going to put this. So 4 inches goes right there, which is absolutely fine. So it is on the inside of this envelope, but it doesn't matter because it will still fold down over the top of that. But yeah, probably do your eyelets before. But then again, if I'd have done it before, my envelope would have stuck over the top of the eyelet. So actually, happy accidents. There we go. So I'm going to pop that in there. And I've got this lovely lace. I think will go in quite nicely with this. So measure enough to kind of like tie a knot there, and a bit to tie it with, which will probably be plenty enough there. So then double that and a smidge extra. That's my scientific way of measuring. A little bit here, smidge there. So then fold that in half and cut. So I'm going to thread that through. And tie it on the inside. And do the same on the back cover. So inside, outside to inside. And then fold it, tie in a little knot on the inside. Heavy breathing while I'm concentrating. There we go. And then that will just tie shut like so. There we go. Nice lace on the outside and tied together with some lace. So there we have our finished junk journal from start to finish. I'm hoping you've learned something there if you are a newbie. Obviously, if you've seen all this before, you know, there might be a different way if you pick something up. So there we have our junk journal, single signature, remember, so it's a group of papers together. And I've used a mixture of scrapbook paper, the papers from this beautiful, beautiful kit, which will link below, music paper, coffee dyed papers, whatever you fancy putting in your journal, and then decorate it as much or as little as you like. There's lots of different ways you can do decorations in here, little tags, beautiful papers, and plenty of places for photographs and journaling. So there we go. I hope you've learned something. Please remember to subscribe to my channel if you don't already. Give my video a thumbs up if you like it, and leave a little comment if you want to. And happy crafting. And I hope to see you all again soon. Bye. I'm back. Just remembered I was going to show you what to do with one of these doilies. I didn't use it as part of my actual junk journal, but you can use it to make really super cute pockets. So all you do is take in your edges to meet in the middle. So fold one edge over here and the other edge over there. So they just meet in the middle like that. And then all you're going to do is fold up from bottom to top like this. Okay. There you have created a super cute little pocket. So all you need to just do now is just run some glue down this little part here and this little part here, and just fold those up there, and that has created a cute little pocket. And you can put things in the back and things in the front. How cute is that? So I'm just going to pop some glue on the back of this now, just on that part that hasn't got the doily part on it. That'll be enough to keep that on there. And just bring my journal back in. I'm just going to pop that just there. And there we go. You have a super cute little pocket made with a doily. See you soon.